Welcome to Floral Friday again, and today we're going to look at alders. So Alnus glutinosa, which is a tree, and the reason I'm standing here is I really wanted you to have a look. It's so beautiful. We've got the river behind us, and then we've got these giant alders in the background. This is the classic habitat that alders love. So they love wet, boggy places, hence right by the river here, and also a lot of light. So these alders are really enjoying a lot of light. They're a pioneer species in that if there is a gap in the canopy and it's wet, they are a wonderful species that actually set the stage, if you like, for many other plants to grow. And the reason why they do that is on their root nodules they have a bacteria that helps nitrogen being fixed into the ground, which helps create a much more fertile environment for other plants when they come in. As you can see, they grow quite tall. They can grow up to about 30 metres. They will create sometimes what's called an alder car, where if there is a huge boggy place and nothing else can grow, alder trees will grow there. And in the folklore, there's a lot of superstition around them. It's a place you don't want to go into, because also if you were a baddie, I suppose, of a highwayman, that's the place that you might go and hide, because it's so wet and boggy no one will go in there. So hence the folklore around don't go into an alder car, because there might be bad things in there, and the boggarts and the bad fairies go in there as well, and their tricksters are all hiding in there. Its wood has a resistance to rotting when it's in water, so it's been used a lot for construction when there needs to be posts and frames underground. So Venice, for instance, a lot of Venice was built on structures that were made of alder wood, so that's quite interesting to know. There's medicinal properties in alder, so it's got an antiseptic property in the bark. It's got salicin in it, which turns into salicylic acid in our stomachs, which is where we get our aspirin from. There's lots of folklore about alder being used as a strong emetic. Let's go look at it close up, because it's really lovely. There's some really nice things to look at. So I'd like to show you a few really lovely things to look at when you're walking by an alder. First of all, you can see on the twigs and on the bark, the alder are known for raised lenticels. What's a lenticel? So a lenticel are these like little dots here that you can see, and if you look at them really closely, what you can see is they look like tiny raised linseeds. So, and they're kind of like a light sort of creamy colour. What are lenticels? So lenticels are actually where the tree breathes, so it's another part of its breathing apparatus. You've got a bud which is a kind of a purpley amethyst type colour, and it sits on this little kind of podium here, if you like, a little woody structure which takes you into this species if you're wanting to key out a species in the winter. But these buds, which they just look like little amethysts, it's like the fairies come into the woods and they've dotted the ends of the twigs with tiny little amethysts, and it's really the jewel tree. It's a tree of jewels, and it's something to really enjoy. It's just very, very pretty, these little purple buds. So another thing that is nice to have a look at is here we have the male flower, and then behind it we have the female flower. So this is what will turn into the cones that we see on alder, which make alder quite unique. So the cones are what provide a food source. We can see some cones here. They provide a food source for a variety of birds, so goldfinches and siskins. So here we have the alder tree, Alnus glutinosa. Enjoy.